Whew! It's been a long class, right? Or a long CCNA3. Maybe not. Nah, it's enjoyable every day at CCNA3, right? So here we are, the end, the worst chapter of them all. All right, all the other stuff is awesome. Now here we go into licensing, and licensing is rough in Microsoft, and licensing is rough in Cisco. This is important. There's a ton of questions on your final about licensing. So if you read any of them multiple times, do this one, because it is very boring, but it is very, very important. And if you are ever in charge of the licensing, you need this. So basically, we're just going to explain how we can legally do stuff with Cisco devices, right? Because like many vendors, we own the hardware. When we buy the hardware, but we don't actually own the operating system. We're borrowing that, so we have to pay for licensing on it. We can't give it to people. We can't do things like that. So we're going to be talking first about these software release families. And so they're comprised of multiple iOS software release versions that share a code base, apply to a related hardware platform, overlap in support coverage as one OS comes to an end and their OS is introduced and supported. So we have mainlines and T-trains. Alright, so the mainline is the maintenance, as you can see here, and these are new functions, and usually these are like planned. And so let's see what they say over. The mainline train receives mostly software bug fixes with the goal of increasing software quality. The mainline train releases are also designed as maintenance deployment releases, MDs. A mainline train is always associated with the technology train, T-train. A T-train, such as 12.4T, receives the same software bug fixes as the mainline train. The T-train also receives new software and hardware support features released in the Cisco iOS software 12.4 train are considered early deployment releases. There may be other trains depending on the software releases, blah blah blah. Alright, so the T-train starts with a T. Anyways, so you're going to get more features in here, and these are kind of like, I don't know, they're kind of a beta. I don't even know how to really explain them, but they pop out, and then you download them if you want, but usually you download the fixes. These T-trains, sometimes they need a bug fix themselves. So, and I guess the best way of explaining that is up to and including Cisco iOS 12.4 release family, the mainline and T-trains were separated. In other words, from the mainline train, a T-train would branch out and become a separate code base that received new features and hardware support. Eventually, a new mainline train would evolve from an established T-train, and the cycle would start again. Alright, so that's what they're almost like little beta features that you're getting, but you have to pay extra for them. So this is how we see these, right? We have our rebuild numbers, the maintenance number. If you guys do a show, let's see, show register, it should show you all this stuff. You can also see it as it loads in, or when you download an iOS file, it looks exactly, it usually is labeled with these on it, telling you what you have. The back of your Cisco device also tells you what it had installed originally. If we didn't have support on it, then it wasn't updated, because you have to pay for support to get the different maintenance IDs, or the updates, right? So as this goes through, if you want this, you can only get them if you have support, paid for support. So to get updates, you have to pay for support. So what we're seeing here is the different licenses that we can get for Cisco routers. And this has kind of changed because, well, we'll find out. But now they have our integrated services router allow us to have a lot of these features, and we just have an unlock code. But in the past, we actually had to buy a router with these features on the license, right? So we had IP base, which is just entry, IP voice, converged voice, and data VoIP. Advanced security allowed us to do VPNs, iOS firewalls, IDS, IPS, IPsec, 3DS, and VPN. Service provider added SSH, SSL, ATM, voice over ATM, and MPLS to IP voice. And then enterprise had Apple Talk, IPX, and IBM support. I also believe enterprise had everything on it. Okay. 3 other premium packages offer iOS software features combinations that address more complex network requirements. And that's, oh, this is what I'm thinking of. Advanced Enterprise Services is full Cisco iOS software features. Enterprise Services are the enterprise base and service provider services, advanced IP services, advanced security, service provider services, and support for IP version 6. So we went from 12.4 to 15, and so we skipped everything, right? We went to 15M. What does 15 provide? New feature and hardware support, broadened featured consistency with major iOS releases, more predictable new feature releases and rebuild schedules, proactive individual release support policies, simplified release numbering, clear software deployment, and migration guidelines. The extended maintenance train means M right here. M is extended maintenance train. It's ideal for long-term maintenance, enabling customers to qualify, deploy, and remain on a release for an extended period of time. The mainline train incorporates features delivered in previous releases, plus incremental new feature enhancements and hardware support. Alright, so then we have the standard maintenance. The T release is used for short deployment releases, ideal for the latest new features and hardware support. It's just like what we had before, right? What we saw before, they still have them in 15. And so how do they package them? Like I said, standard is IP based, but built into each one of these ISR G2 routers, right? If we look at this, so all these routers we have, we can unlock features and data, unified communication, which is all the voice features, and then security. So we don't have to buy it with that model on it, that image on it. So it's basically just reformed. So the IP base is still IP base. The IP voice went to unified communications. Enterprise base went to data. Enterprise services went to data and unified communications. So we'd have to unlock both those modules. Service provider went to data and unified communications. Advanced security is now just security. Advanced IP services is just security. Advanced enterprise services, security, unified communications, and data, right? Because this unlocks everything. So the big deal is how this works is universal images with the universal 9. So that's what the image is going to be called. Or universal K9, sorry. The universal image offers Cisco iOS features, including strong payload cryptography and all that. So the K9 means we have strong encryption. The K9 NOPE NPE means that in some countries we can't have strong encryption. And so if you see, hopefully you never see this, but universal K9 NPE means that it does not support strong encryption. That is a test question for sure. Alright, so we show our flash, and it's going to show us our image name, right? So our image name, the first one, like the C, 1900, C2800. This is the device. This is for the device. So ours should start with 29, C29, right? And then it tells us our next one is the name. Like this one's Universal K9. So that's the one that it supports encryption. Down here they have Advanced Services K9. So specifies the feature set. Advanced Services K9 refers to advanced IP services features, which include both advanced security and service provider packages. Yep. MZ indicates that it was a zip, right? I believe. Indicates where the image runs if file is compressed. In this example, MZ indicates the file runs from RAM and is compressed. 124-6T, the file name format, right? So this tells us that it's 12.46T, train number and all that. Bin, it's a binary file. Sometimes they're not binary. It actually will be compressed in there, and so it's, I don't remember. We have a different one. I can't remember what they are if they're not bin, but look through there. This is, we'd see this show flash or show the heck is that command? That show the same command that shows the registry. Let's see, show version. Show version is going to tell us all this stuff. Remember that shows us a RAM and all that. It'll also have all this image information in it. Alright, so whenever we get these images, they're extremely, they're valuable because if we don't have a Cisco account, we can never access them again. So a good idea is, even if we have a Cisco account, to back up our images so we can TFTP them, SCP them. We're talking about TFTP here, but anyway, so SCP is just a encrypted file transfer, and probably we could TFTP this. Our config, when we TFTP it, it could be a security risk because it's all in clear text, so somebody could steal all of our configuration and, I don't know, find our passwords out or something, but this is probably fine. So we put it on TFTP server, back it up onto a USB, do something. Alright, that's all this is saying. And so if you guys have never backed up a TCP, it's the same as, they're saying copy, but you don't necessarily have to do that. You first they ping the TFTP server, but if we have TFTP server running, actually it is copy. I don't know what I was thinking. So they show you that. They show you copy. Oh, they are doing it easy. So you could do copy, and you can put all the files in, or you could just go copy flash. Hold on, they put flash 0 because they're probably using a nice device with multiple flashes, so maybe they have to. So you press enter there, and then it's going to ask you the file name, and usually you can just press enter because you're copying it from the flash unless you're going from the TFTP. Then you might have to name it, or you could rename it to something else, like you could say router 1 image, but I would keep it on the image it was because it just makes it easier. Alright, so we just press enter, and then we put in where the TFTP server is. I don't know, so in theirs it's 1.100. So you can see that in the picture, but it's just the same as saying copy, running config, startup, except we say copy flash TFTP. If we wanted to copy the run into a TFTP, we'd say copy running config TFTP, and it would ask us the same questions. And so then what we want to see is these little exclamation marks, and it's usually fairly quick. It's longer with a iOS file, of course, than with a configuration file. So, yeah. On IP version 6, same deal, except we use an IP version 6 address. Okay? Take a look if you're not understanding how that works. Alright, here's our show version command, right? How does it boot? How does the system boot? Well, hope you guys remember this was like a CCNA3 thing. And actually, no, this is boot system. Okay, so this is, if we upgrade our iOS, say we want to put another iOS on, it's a newer one. And we can, a lot of times the flashes are big enough that we can keep two operating systems in there, and so it'll still keep loading to this one. But then we want to try out our new one. So what we do is from global config we do this command: boot system flash and then the name. And the good thing is if it's in your flash, you can just tab that, or you can specify the TFTP. So actually you could keep your image on TFTP, but I don't know, it'd be a little too risky for me to want to do that. But I guess if you can't fit your image, you have a boot option of doing the flash or booting from your operating system from TFTP. So I guess you have either one in there if you want it. Your show version will show you where it is booting from as well. Okay, it shows you lots of great stuff. We love show version. If you guys haven't, if you've never backed up with TFTP, try this out, but I think most of you guys have. Oh, back to licensing. Woo! Alright. Licensing overview. We've been talking about these features, so we're just going to keep going to where, how do we get them licensed? Alright, here's our step. We purchase a feature package. We can do that from Cisco.com, or we can do it, talk to a Cisco representative, a Cisco salesman, and buy it. They would just go to the Cisco website and do it for us. Cisco License Manager or Cisco License Portal, right? And so we receive a pack from them, and then we activate that pack. Basically, we register that pack to us, right? And then we receive a license file, and then we install the license file on our router, unlocking unified communications or unlocking something like that, wireless. So more in depth, how do we do this? We purchase. Okay, so this is where we, I don't know. So what it says right here basically is your Cisco channel partner or Cisco will have already activated the licenses that if you purchase extra. So this is up. I mean, you can upgrade at any point. So a lot of this is based on, hey, you're going to upgrade. So you receive a pack with your purchase. The pack serves as a receipt and then is used to obtain a license. Pack is 11-digit code created by Cisco. It defines a feature set associated with the pack. A pack is not tied to a specific device until a license is created. A pack can be purchased that generates any specific number of licenses as shown in the figure. A separate license is required for each package: IP-based data, UC, and security. So then we take our pack and we go to the CLM, right? So you either go to this website and you go through their tutorial, download the CLM package, or you go to the Cisco license portal and you just type it in. Both require your pack, right? And so let's see, you take your product ID, serial number, and show license UID command. This information, I don't know, it just shows you your license. I don't really know what else they're trying to tell you right now. So basically you put your license information in and they send you an XML. Okay. You can also find your license information in this pull tray. Go ahead and try that command. Next, you install the license. This really is not that hard. I don't know why it's so bad. So take that XML file and you say license install, and then wherever you stored that XML file, then you reload your device, and guess what? You have your features. You reload. So then you do a show license, and if you have one, let's say permanent, you can actually do a trial of any of these by, I think that's coming up. Anyways, that's where show version. Before it would have just said IP base, right? Permanent. Now we have a permanent security, so when they installed that, that's what it did. Show license. We'll show the other stuff. Let's see, do they have... They should have a thing where we... Here we go. If you want to evaluate any of these, you do a license accept user in a agreement, and then license boot the module C9000 technology package, right? So if you ever want to test out any of these security packages, that's what you do, right? And so you just say license boot, module name, then the technology package, and so your package names are probably aren't going to do IP based, but security K9, data K9, UC K9. So it depends what you're doing, and so that's how you do a trial. And they're limited to 60 days. Backing up the license. It's the license save command. Okay, here we go. License save, and then where we want to save it. Yay! That way we don't lose our license and have access to our expensive Cisco proprietary features. If we want to clear a package, we go to license boot module, as we saw before, and say the module name, then the technology package and the package name, and tell it to disable. Or we say license cleared and the feature name, and that's cleared out of there. And why we do that? Maybe we want to put it on a different router, or who knows. I've never cleared a license out. So maybe watch that video if you're confused, because this is, I mean, it is a pain. And like I said, there's a lot of questions on there about how you about licensing and TFTP. So make sure you know what the show license UID does, show license, license accept. Make sure you know how to activate a temporary trial, and I don't know, kind of understand the trains. But other than that, that was CCNA3. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know, and I know licensing is rough, so go ahead and read through there if you would like.